Have you ever felt like you were being watched? Like there were eyes on you even when you were alone? That prickling sensation on the back of your neck that makes the hair stand up? I used to brush it off as paranoia, but not anymore. Not after what happened to me. You see, I had always been a skeptic when it came to the supernatural. Ghosts, demons, urban legends. I thought it was all just stories meant to scare people. That all changed the night I encountered the shadow people. It started innocently enough. I was up late studying for an exam, buried in textbooks and notes scattered across my desk. The overhead light flickered briefly, causing me to look up. That's when I saw it. A dark humanoid figure standing in the corner of my bedroom. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me from staring at the books for too long. But as I blinked and refocused, the shadowy form was still there, unmoving. A chill ran down my spine as our eyes met. Well, at least I think they were eyes. Two voids in the shape of a face, watching me intently. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice trembling. There was no response, only the deafening silence that pressed in from all sides. Fumbling for my phone, I switched on the flashlight, sweeping the beam around the room. But the shadowy figure had vanished, as if it had never been there at all. I tried to rationalize what I had seen, blaming it on exhaustion or a trick of the light. But deep down, I knew there was something more sinister at play. A part of me felt like I had just witnessed something that shouldn't exist in our world. For the next few nights, I convinced myself it had just been a figment of my tired mind, desperately needing sleep. That was until they started appearing more frequently, watching me from different corners of the room with those soulless, empty eyes. At first, they would simply stand there, observing, but then things took a more sinister turn. Objects would go missing, only to reappear in different places. Strange noises would emanate from empty rooms. And sometimes, when I'd wake up in the middle of the night, I could have sworn I felt something brushing against my face. The experiences became more frequent and unsettling. One night, I awoke to the sound of faint whispering, as if voices were coming from the shadows themselves. Another time, I found my bedroom door inexplicably locked from the inside, trapping me in with whatever malevolent forces lurked within. Paranoia began to set in. I started keeping all the lights on, afraid of what might be lurking in the shadows. My friends and family thought I was losing it. But how could I explain the unexplainable? These things, whatever they were, seemed to only appear when I was alone. One night, driven by desperation and a need for answers, I decided to take action. I set up a camera in my room, determined to capture evidence of these shadow people on film. If I could just get proof of their existence, maybe someone would finally believe me. What I saw in the footage the next morning nearly made me sick. There they were, dozens of them, emerging from the darkest corners and crevices like living smoke screens. They congregated around my bed, those blank faces inches from my own as I slept, unaware. It was as if they were studying me, like some sort of science experiment. I couldn't tear my eyes away from the footage, both horrified and entranced by what I was witnessing. These beings, if you could even call them that, seemed to defy all logic and reason. They moved with a fluidity that was almost hypnotic, their shadowy forms bending and shifting in ways that shouldn't have been possible. I didn't sleep for days after that, too terrified to let my guard down. The shadows seemed to be closing in, taunting me. I felt like I was losing my grip on reality. Every creak, every flicker of light sent my heart racing with the fear that they were watching me again. That's when the messages started appearing, scrawled in that same inky blackness. I'd find them etched onto my mirrors, my walls, my notebook pages. Phrases like, "We're watching," and "You can't escape us," only served to fuel my growing sense of dread. At first, I tried to ignore them, convincing myself that it was just my mind playing tricks on me. But the messages became more frequent, more personal, as if the shadow people were taunting me with their presence. "We know your deepest fears," one message read, sending chills down my spine. I tried every trick in the book to get rid of them. Sage smudging, salt lines around the doors and windows, even consulting a paranormal expert. Nothing worked. In fact, the more I tried to resist, the more aggressive and persistent they became. One particularly terrifying night, I awoke to find them gathered around my bed again. But this time, they weren't just watching. Tendrils of shadow were snaking across the sheets, wrapping around my wrists and ankles like living restraints. I fought against their grasp, but they only tightened their hold, pulling me towards the gaping maw that had formed in the center of their mass. I screamed until my voice was hoarse, tears of terror streaming down my face. But no one came. No one could hear my cries for help over the deafening silence that seemed to emanate from the very shadows themselves. In that moment, I knew my fate was sealed. The shadow people had won. As the inky darkness swallowed me whole, I felt a cold, bony hand clamp over my mouth, muffling my cries. The last thing I saw before the void consumed me were those empty, bottomless eyes staring back at me with an emotion I can only describe as hunger, an insatiable craving that chilled me to my very core. I don't know how long I was trapped in that endless darkness, time seeming to lose all meaning. All I knew was the cold, the silence, and the ever-present feeling of being watched, tortured by visions and whispers that seemed to seep into my very soul. When I finally emerged, it was as if I had never left, but something within me had changed. A part of me had been claimed by the shadows, forever tainted by their touch, and now I am one of them, cursed to roam the darkness, seeking out others to share in my torment. So you see, they're real. The shadow people are out there, lurking in the darkest corners, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And once they have you in their grasp, you're never truly alone again. The darkness becomes a part of you, seeping into your mind and twisting your reality until you can no longer tell what's real and what's a nightmare. The next time you feel that prickling sensation on the back of your neck, or see something move out of the corner of your eye, don't ignore it, because they're watching. They're always watching, and now that you know the truth, they may never let you go.